Imagine a world filled with corruption and wickedness, a world where righteousness seemed like a distant memory. This was the era in which Noah, a man from the Bible, lived. It was a time of moral decay when humanity had strayed far from the path of righteousness. Every corner of the earth was steeped in sin, a complete abomination to the divine plan God had envisioned for his creation. A sense of disappointment hung heavy in the heart of the Almighty as he looked upon his work, tainted by man's transgressions. Amidst this, righteousness was scarce, a precious gem lost in an abyss of darkness overflowing with sin. Yet in this world, there was one man whom God was well pleased with. There was one man who chose to live by the principles and statutes of God, even in a world that had no regard for him. That man was named Noah. So, in the courthouse of the universe, God favored Noah in his fierce judgment upon the earth and all its inhabitants. As the world drowned in its sins, Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Because Noah found favor in God's sight, the Lord decided to spare him from the great flood, which he planned to use to cleanse the earth of its evil. God spoke to Noah and gave him the plan of salvation which would save him. That plan was to build an ark that would contain Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and his 3 sons' wives. Along with them, 2 of every kind of creature on the earth. Of the birds after their kind, of animals after their kind, and of every creeping thing of the earth after its kind, 2 of every kind. The ark took many years to build, some say as long as 120 years. Yes, 120 years. Back then, the Bible teaches life expectancy was longer. In Genesis chapter 9, verses 28 through 29 say, "And Noah lived after the flood 350 years. So all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died." In fact, one of God's judgments on the earth at the time of Noah was that he was going to reduce man's lifespan. And the Lord said, "My spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Genesis chapter 6 and verse 3. This is the same verse used to say Noah spent 120 years building the ark. Noah's calling was no ordinary task. It was a mission of faith, a testament to his unwavering trust in God. Noah's work was seemingly not just building an ark, but the Bible says he was a preacher of righteousness. This means that Noah, despite knowing God's plan to save only the 8, tried to preach the message of salvation to the rest so that they might be saved also. But all this availed to nothing till the completion of the ark. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day, Noah and Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, entered the ark. They and every beast after its kind, all cattle after their kind, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark to Noah, 2 by 2, of all flesh, which is the breath of life. So those that entered, male and female of all flesh, went in as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. Now the flood was on the earth for 40 days. The waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters prevailed and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly on the earth, and all the high hills under heaven were covered. And all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life. All that was on the dry land died. So he destroyed all living things on the face of the ground, both man and cattle, creeping things, and birds of the air. They were destroyed from the earth. Only Noah and those who were with him in the ark remained alive, and the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the 1st month, the 1st day of the month, that the waters were dried up from the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and indeed the surface of the ground was dry. And the earth was dried in the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month. Then God spoke to Noah, saying, "Go out of the ark, you and your wife, and your sons' wives with you." Then the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground for man's sake, although the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. And God said, "This is the sign of the covenant which I make between you and me, and every living creature that is with you, for perpetual generations. Set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be for the sign of the covenant between me and the earth." Now, Noah's story is foreshadowing and a glimpse into the future coming of Jesus Christ, a prophecy of his mission of reconciliation and fierce judgment. The Apostle Peter even teaches that Noah's story symbolizes what we know as baptism today in his epistle. Divine long-suffering waited in the days of Noah while the ark was being prepared, in which a few, that is, 8 souls, were saved through water. There is also an antitype that now saves us, baptism, not the removal of the filth of the flesh, but the answer of a good conscience toward God through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. 1 Peter 3:21. See, the Bible teaches that God has a judgment on the world today, as he did on the days of Noah, and we are currently in the ark building phase. That ark is Jesus, and the building process is as we get to know him. Jesus is the ark of God, which we ought to be in if we seek to miss God's judgment. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Centuries have passed since Noah walked the earth, yet his story continues to resonate with us today. It's a tale that transcends time, brimming with lessons we can apply in our modern lives. Jesus Christ taught a very practical application of the story of Noah in the modern day. He advised using Noah's story as a time marker for when the Son of Man would judge the earth. But as the days of Noah were, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. In our fast-paced, technologically advanced society, we often feel as though we are good people, advanced in civilization and morality. However, many of us in the modern day have moved away from acknowledging God and have gone about our business having no regard for God. This is precisely the pattern that transpired before the great flood in Noah's time. For as in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark, and did not know until the flood came and took them all away, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. And so many live their lives with no acknowledgement of God whatsoever, not knowing the judgment which waits to befall them unknowingly. But like in Noah's day, God provided a way to save the few who would choose to be faithful to him. That ark of salvation for us today is Jesus Christ.